The family Chantel star Pedro Jimenez plan to use and discard Chantel Everett becomes crystal clear once one deep dives into their marriage and its problems. Pedro and Chantel were first seen together in 90 Day Fiancé Season 4 when the Atlanta nurse brought Pedro to the US to marry him and hadn't told her family about their engagement. Chantel had shown blind trust in Pedro even then, when the truth was that he never cared about her feelings. Pedro created many painful as well as embarrassing situations for Chantel during their marriage. Pedro didn't bother to build a healthy relationship with Chantel's siblings and parents. He gave them reasons to believe that he was a green card hunter through his sketchy behavior. Pedro became all the clearer in his goals once he found a job and started interacting with his female co-workers. Chantel's insecurities were very visible, but Pedro didn't pacify her because he was going to soon break her heart and step all over it. The cold and calculated Pedro used Chantel as a mere pawn in his game. Karema became the villain in Pedro and Chantel's storyline because she was never shy about admitting she had a crush on her best friend, Nicole, Jimenez's older brother. In Happily Ever After, Season 4, Pedro, who was visiting the Dominican Republic without Chantel, had shockingly gotten drunk on 10 shots and intimately danced with Karema after taking his ring off. Karema realized that Pedro was missing something in his marriage with Chantel and wished for him to find a Dominican woman who would understand his needs. Pedro reunited with Karema a year after he filed for divorce from Chantel. Chantel's friend, Obed Corporan, informed the 90DF star that Pedro and Karema had dated since high school. Chantel's mother, Karen Everett, hired a detective to dig up some dirt on Pedro and found out that he'd been cheating on Chantel with Karema behind her back for years. Chantel had no idea, and Pedro couldn't be with Karema legally because he was married. That didn't stop him from lusting after Karema. She might have been aware of Pedro's master plan all along. After all, Pedro secretly hated Chantel, and Karema made her dislike for the Atlanta woman known. Pedro has been desperately trying to shed his green card hunter image in the last couple of years. He's showing his fun side to fans and suggests he is single because he was never unfaithful towards his wife. Pedro is the kind of man who would go to any lengths to manipulate their partner. Along with Chantel, he also tricked the viewers into believing it was not American citizenship that he wanted. Pedro was slowly building the American dream for himself while Chantel was suffering and trying to fix things that went wrong only because Pedro wanted them to. Pedro never valued the love and respect that Chantel and her family showed towards him. He used her to gain access to the US, and never reciprocated the affection Chantel had for him. Pedro used his reality TV fame to land an impressive job in real estate. He was always hunting for bigger and better things, even if it meant hurting people who actually cared. Pedro could hurt Chantel's family so easily because he never respected them. Their fights always ended with Chantel's family wanting to extend an olive branch, but Pedro continued hurting them. He got into a physical brawl with Chantel's brother, River Everett. Chantel's family was sure that Pedro was scamming them, but they couldn't do anything about it for the sake of their daughter. When they did realize that their suspicions about Pedro had been right all along, it was too late. Pedro had used them to his advantage and dumped Chantel immediately after he got what he wanted from her in their marriage.